try something different. I'm going to tell you some reasons why you shouldn't move to Houston. Well, I tell you about them all the time. The storms, the rain, lots of people, the mosquitoes, bugs, just bugs in general, mold. Everything's musty inside the house. If the shower goes on, it's like you have to have some kind of fan. Otherwise it all gets musty. Yeah. And the pools always want to get green and it gets hot. That's why you always got to keep the pH on watch and make sure the pH is down. It's the pool is like making sure the pH is down, not too low, but down, and making sure the chlorine's strong. And we're not talking about the tabs. Sometimes you can have enough tabs, but you don't have enough free floating chlorine, so you have to add the granules or the shock. You don't always need the whole shock bag, but you just pour some in a bucket with some water, mix it up, and pour it around the pool, sweep it up. Yeah, that helps. Granules or shock, for sure. And there's a lot more people here, and they're from all over the world, and sometimes you have workers come to fix your house, and the weird thing is sometimes they don't want to fix it. They like come to your house and you say, hey, what's wrong? We think it's this. Can you fix that? And they'll be like, no, I don't want to fix it. And like leave your house and not do anything, not get any pay. And you're like, what? They wanted money, but they didn't want to do the work to get paid? So confused. So yeah, you have, whoops, a basketball bump. You have weird situations like that for sure. But where else would you go? That's what you have to pick. Where do I want to be? And if not Houston, somewhere else in Texas. I mean, Dallas is a nice big city, and there's a lot of cool places around there. Austin, although Austin, very expensive now. I lived there for a couple years. San Antonio. I mean, everything has its positive and negatives. You can go to Arizona or Utah or Oregon or Colorado. You know, depending on if you want more snow. Oregon is way more rain and cloudiness. Here, I complain about it here. It's not as bad as Oregon, I was told by other YouTubers. California, way expensive. Lots of smog. I lived there. Lots of smog, even when I was a teenager. Like burn your throat and your lungs smog in the summertime if you do too much exercise or swimming. But I do like that I can play basketball in my backyard here. I can swim, so it's cool. Drivers here are crazy. I've driven in LA, Orange County, Austin, but Houston, it's like half the people, you don't think that they really have a driver's license or pass the class because they all drive crazy. Like really crazy. Like, don't be pissed all the time. Just be like, yep, just expect it. People will do really, really sketchy things on the road, and you just have to watch out for it. Crime. Yeah, look at the stats for crime in Houston. Compare them to the whole country in big cities. It's not good. But there are safer areas, safer neighborhoods in the core of Houston. Popping myself. In the core of Houston, you can live in a safer neighborhood. It'll cost you a couple $1 million or a really hefty maintenance fee. Pay for your safety, or you move farther out of the city, or you find those little gem neighborhoods. I see them a lot. There's like little gem hidden neighborhoods. You're like, oh, this is a good little neighborhood. But like LA or other city, they're, you know, a couple blocks from a bad neighborhood. You can live in the country. You could have a couple acres, get a cow, get a horse, get chickens, and still drive into Houston for your job. That's why it's amazing here. And the traffic's not as bad as California. Sometimes I mean, like in California 20 years ago, they would have like heavy traffic at certain times in the morning, at certain times in the afternoon, and then it would weed off in between. It's sort of like at that phase now. Will it ever be crazy like California, like LA? Yeah, I'm sure it'll get there. But LA and Orange County is a small chunk of land of condensed population compared to Houston, because Houston, you think, well, it's huge, there's tons of people there, but it's a bigger piece of land, you know, so the population per square mile is not as dense everywhere, and that's a good thing. So soon there's going to be a possible, they're considering having everybody can have a gun rule out in public in the stores, but I don't know, I think the stores, they gotta have a right to be like, no guns allowed, because the post office does that. I don't like the idea, so we'll see what happens with that. On the upside, houses are moving in the West Houston area. The houses are on the market for an average of 19 days. It's really short. Houses are moving quick. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, I can't get a house." It's still possible. Excuse the plane. We're close to a small airport, and they do circles. People learning how to fly a plane. So you can learn how to fly a plane over here too. If you're thinking, I can't get a house, so many houses are expired. You wouldn't believe. I mean, they don't sell, or people terminate because they're not selling quick enough. Sometimes you got to give it more time. The average market selling 19 days doesn't mean 19 days for everybody. Sometimes it's quicker, sometimes it's longer. If your house is over $500,000, that's not, you're not in the same category. It's going to take longer to sell. Just accept that. Don't get frustrated.